thank you all for being here. It really is our honor and privilege to be able to bring the summit virtually to so many of you, and some who have participated for multiple days and are hanging in there with us, and others who are brand new to this session. Welcome to everybody. This is amazingly the 10th annual summit. We did skip 2020 with everything going on, and are bringing it to you here virtually for 2021. Um, it I am pleased to, well, first I need to say my name. I am Emily Litchfield. I'm the director of AmeriCorps and Volunteerism initiatives at the Governor's Office of Youth, Faith, and Family. And we are happy to bring the annual summit to you virtually today. I would like to introduce our presenter, Bob Shogren. Bob has currently serves as the director of the Casa Grande Alliance, a Casa Grande, I never know how to say that, a 30-year-old grassroots community-led effort to prevent substance use disorder and build stronger communities through strengthening families and developing youth leaders. He convenes a 40-plus member community coalition in Casa Grande, and along with the county attorney, co-chairs the Pima County Wellness Alliance. Additionally, Bob serves as the vice chair of the Arizona Adverse Childhood Experiences Consortium, the president of the Casa Grande Daybreak Rotary Club, and the chair of the Rotary Leadership Institute for Southern Arizona. How does he pack it all in, ladies and gentlemen? Prior to his retirement in 2019, Bob worked with the Governor's Commission on Service and Volunteerism and served as the AmeriCorps director for 3 governors, and served as a school district administrator and middle school teacher in a rural Arizona mining town prior to that. So Bob, take it away for us here.
Well, thank you, Emily, and hi, everybody. How y'all doing this afternoon? 2 thumbs up. How's the conference been? You liking it? Right on. Well, thank you very much for joining the session today. Really what this is going to be about, as Emily said, and believe it or not, I was the person in the governor's office that hired Emily before I retired. And I think that the governor's office is absolutely lucky to have her. And I think she's filled some giant shoes very, very well. And I think she's really moving AmeriCorps into the future for Arizona, and really working on growing it and making it that much more meaningful for our state. So Emily, good work. Great job. Today's going to be more reflective, and today's really going to be about observations and reflection about service in AmeriCorps. And I started prior to the year 2000 with AmeriCorps at the local level. And we had a very rural AmeriCorps program in the little town where I worked. And we primarily engaged young stay-at-home moms as AmeriCorps members in this community that had no opportunity and no jobs. And they would come in and work with English language learners, and at that time we would kind of work on development, and we would work on next steps, and we'd go to the community college and get them tested and get them placed and get them moving forward on a career. So that was over 20 years ago. And as Emily said, I had a little bit to do with AmeriCorps at the state level as well. And I feel like there's just a lot of wisdom perhaps that can be shared in this kind of format. So so that's the intention for today. I've got a couple of research studies that I'd like to look at that started in Arizona with AmeriCorps. And I really kind of want to talk about, what the bang is for you serving in AmeriCorps as AmeriCorps members. And if you could, I'd love it if you could like type into the chat box who you are and what AmeriCorps program you're with. So let's do that just for a minute. I see John with Public Allies, Ariel with Public Allies, James with the AMP program through NAU, and I think that's a Vista project. Yvette with Phoenix Public Allies, Theodis with Caring Circles, Red with Benefits Enrollment Specialist serving the United Way of Tucson and Southern Arizona. I love it. These sound so awesome. You guys are doing such great work. Monique serving at Prescott Unified School District as a Vista. Right on, go Vista. So thanks for sharing. Oh, 18 new messages. A lot of public allies. There's again, Area Agency on Aging, Opportunities for Youth. Michael, right on. NAU AmeriCorps, seniors. DL with Public Allies, Caring Circles. You're representing programs all over the state. That's awesome. So, so Emily asked me to, before we start the workshop, I wanted to start with just a really short little music video, Kat Edmondson, and I think perhaps you'll see yourself in this video. So here it comes.
Everywhere you look, you can write a book on what's going on. Everyone you know's got to reap what they sow, be it right or wrong. Ghettos flood, there's a hole up in the sky. Oil and blood, tell me why, oh why? Terror struck, look at us, this isn't what we planned. You gotta take a stand, don't forget that pride always goes before the fall. And nobody's free till there's freedom for all. As you sow, so shall you reap. Be the change that you want to see. The change that you want to see. Every now and then you've gotta bend to the way it is. But be that as it may, it's not the way just 'cause they say it is. On TV, there's just no reality. All I hear is me. What they sold, I'm not buying anymore. No more. Don't forget that pride always goes before the fall. And nobody's free till there's freedom for all. As you sow, so shall you reap. Be the change that you want to see. Oh yeah. Be the change that you want to see. Yesterday, heard you say that there's nothing you can do. I wonder if you'd feel the same if it was happening to you. Don't forget that pride always goes before the fall. And nobody's free till there's freedom for all. As you sow, so shall you reap. Be the change that you want to see. Oh yeah. Be the change that you want to see right now. Be the change that you want to see. The changes start with you. Be the change that you want to see. The change that you want to see. Be the change that. Be the change that you want to see. The change that you want to
Did you like the video? I see some thumbs up there. That's awesome. So I love the concept of be the change you want to see. And one of the things that I think is absolutely available through service in AmeriCorps is that you really can be the change that you want to see. It gives you this remarkable opportunity. And today we're going to talk a little bit about that opportunity and kind of what it means and what it can mean as well. Before we get there, though, we'd like to do just a quick activity that will be review for everyone if you've participated in the AmeriCorps track in this conference. And I'm putting into the chat box currently a Lucid Spark board, and I'm going to pull it up here for a minute. And Randy is going to put us into breakout rooms. And what I'd like you to do in the breakout rooms is we'll have the first three, like breakout room 1, 2, and 3, take the first topic of leadership, and breakout rooms 4, 5, and 6 will take the second topic of diversity, and breakout rooms 7, 8, and 9 will take the topic of networking. And what we'd like you to do is spend 5, 6, 7 minutes talking about and writing down on the Padlet or on the Lucid Spark screen that you see before you, your ideas, like what were the biggest takeaways for you with those workshops? What were the best learnings? What were the biggest aha moments for you? So let me show you very quickly. All you have to do is click on one of the Post-it notes, and then you can start typing, and then when you click off it, it just puts you on to the next one. And the other thing that is helpful to know, if you need more Post-it notes, you can right click and then just say duplicate, and there another one pops up. So Randy, are we ready? So 1 through 3 take leadership, 4, 5, 6 take diversity, and the last 3 take networking. And we're just going to give you a few minutes, so you got to connect and communicate and come up with your top ideas. Randy, as soon as you're ready, let's roll.
Okay, here we go.
So everybody's coming back, so welcome back. How did it work for your group?
Worked great.
Well, good. That's good to hear. I have the screen up in front of, like, so we can all look at it together. And it looks like folks have come up with some really interesting things that they've taken away from the workshops throughout the summit. Knowing your team strengths for leadership, value of communication and knowing your audience. That's awesome. Personal mission statements, who you want to be, leadership mission versus shadow mission. Huh, that's a curious one. Importance of taking action, absolutely. Considering diversity, making sure everyone is heard. Continuously growing and learning, acknowledging that which you need to overcome. All of these awesome ideas. How about diversity? Learning how to make my materials more accessible. Yeah, that's so important. This idea, wow, intentional inclusion versus unintentional exclusion. Wow, that's so important. Get into the community. Diversity in all aspects of lives. Must be embraced from the boardroom to boots on the ground. So I think that means diversity has to be celebrated at all of those different levels in every organization. Invest in community outreach. Networking, other ideas for networking, how to be on for virtual meetings. Always have a backup plan when meetings have technology. Put yourself out there. That's a great one. Don't be shy. And this one, I can't, something building connections with the community. That's a great one. The types of connections that can be made at networking events, different voices, clear and concise meetings, all of those things are really good. So anything else you'd like to add, please feel free to type into the chat box. We do have another one of these lucid boards that we want to do a little bit later in the workshop. So hopefully this practice run worked out okay. So thanks for your patience, everybody. Um, so today, I wanted to talk about this idea of being of use and your journey in AmeriCorps. And for those of you that don't know, being of use is a reference to a book that was written by John Irving a bunch of years ago. And the book is called Cider House Rules, and we'll talk a little bit more about it. But I think that you know, as an AmeriCorps member, kind of one of the things that you're really doing is putting yourself out there. And I think that's a really important thing to do. And as you're putting yourself out there and you're serving your country and your own community through a local organization, it's important that you kind of stay in that zone of really being useful, really being helpful, you know, and that's, I think, really important. So, so one of the things that happens for Vistas and for AmeriCorps state national members is that everybody does an oath. Vistas do the federal oath that all federal employees take, and here is that oath. And I want to go through it really quickly because I think there's some really important things here. I do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, and that I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office on which I am about to enter, so help me God. So I'm curious, in that oath, is there anything that stands out to you? Anything that translates into like really genuinely putting yourself out there and giving it 100%? And I guess we're small enough so that you can unmute and share your thoughts, or you're welcome to type into the chat box. Kylie, wow, without mental reservation. Important, such an important thing. Yvette says, well, and faithfully discharge the duties of the office. Kylie, no hesitance is important. Really, really perceptive. I think all of those ideas are really, really good. So I'm going to switch now. So this is the Vista oath that all of the Vistas take. And now I want to give you, here's the AmeriCorps oath, the AmeriCorps Pledge. And it's a little different, but I think it's a little bit similar. But I want to read this to you and ask you to kind of point out what stands out to you. So here's the AmeriCorps Pledge. I will get things done for America to make our people safer, smarter, and healthier. I will bring Americans together to strengthen community. Faced with apathy, I will take action. Faced with conflict, I will seek common ground. Faced with adversity, I will persevere. I will carry this commitment with me this year and beyond. I am an AmeriCorps member and I will get things done. What stands out there for you, folks? Carol says, getting things done. Absolutely. What else stands out for folks?
Certainly the commitment, Bob, as a retired military person, it reminds me of the oath of office for the military, and certainly the commitment.
Yep. Other folks, other ideas?
Bob, I love this year and beyond. So we're not making a short-term commitment to a service. We're making a longer-term investment to a way of life.
Yeah, right on. Thanks, Ken.
I like
Other
the
thoughts?
part of bringing Americans together to strengthen our communities.
Yeah, isn't that something? And what an important thing to do. You know, we're better together. Anyone else? Other thoughts? One more?
This is very patriotic.
Absolutely, it's absolutely patriotic.
I like
Absolutely.
the other one that says seeking common ground, because we all have differences, but what can we find together that we can agree upon, that we can get things done? So I really like that one too.
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of great stuff here. And, you know, all of you on this call have taken this pledge, one of these pledges. All of you on this call, you know, have made this commitment to spend a year of your life in service to the country in your own community. And I think to me, that's a really, really big deal. You know, and I think that's something that that is not, you know, it's hard to, you know, I guess to me that the question becomes, how do you then make the choice to live those ideas? And how do you make the choice every day to really kind of live up to this commitment? And I think there are some really, really easy things that everybody can do like that. So one of the things that I think is absolutely true about all AmeriCorps programs that are funded all across the country is that you are adding capacity in one way, shape, or form to local organizations. You are adding, you're doing the kind of work that other people aren't doing. And I think if AmeriCorps programs really build the role of AmeriCorps members right, you're doing work that's never been done before. So in many ways, you're very much trailblazers, and you are figuring things out on the ground, and you are making things happen, and you're doing so oftentimes in organizations where, you know, they're understaffed and they're underfunded, and you know, and it's difficult for folks to deliver on all of the things they have to deliver on without the AmeriCorps resource. And I think adding you folks in is another layer of service. And I think you got to kind of take it with a grain of salt. But you folks, the work that you do is so valuable and it's so important. And it's something that organizations and communities, you know, may not show right now, but they're super grateful for, and they will be in the long run. So I think that, you know, I'd like to reiterate the idea that you're in a situation as an AmeriCorps member where you're blazing a trail. You're in a situation as an AmeriCorps member where you're doing lots of different kinds of work that other people aren't doing, and what you're exposed to is a really truly remarkable experience to develop as a leader, to develop and sharpen your skills, and to really make a lasting contribution to the organization or to the population that you're serving. I'd like to take a look at two quick studies and just kind of give you what AmeriCorps members have said throughout the years in terms of what this experience has been for folks in their lives. And the first study I'd like to point to is this study from the Morrison Institute. It started out in Arizona. We worked hard on building a really big platform in Arizona the first year, and then the next year it went out to 5 different states. It involved focus groups, almost 400 virtual interviews with people in 6 different states. And And what they found in this research is that AmeriCorps is a very transformative experience. It has lots of benefits for the people that serve in AmeriCorps. It has lots of benefits for the organizations and the communities that are served. I think the other thing that's really significant about this study that they found was that for many, many folks that serve in AmeriCorps, they get hired by the organizations where they serve as AmeriCorps members, or they get hired somewhere in that network of organizations where the AmeriCorps member serves. So to me, I think that AmeriCorps provides a really interesting opportunity for organizations to test out individuals, to test out future employees in AmeriCorps members. And I think also AmeriCorps members have this really extraordinary opportunity to learn an organization's culture and kind of test out an organization as they're serving in the organization. But it's just remarkable how many AmeriCorps members get hired by the organizations where they serve. So I think that says something very, very significant. I think that says something very important. So like I said, it leads to job creation. There's a positive effect on internships and employment outcomes for the people that serve in AmeriCorps, and it holds true for folks across all of the different types of service that they perform. So I think that's really an interesting study. The second thing I'd like to point to is a study that we did with AmeriCorps programs, gosh, almost 10 years ago now. And we did a year-long evaluation process with different checkpoints along the year. And we used this process called journey mapping that engaged almost 500 AmeriCorps members in Arizona programs and 75 mentors across 16 different AmeriCorps programs. So there was just a lot of information about provided through this evaluation, and there was a lot of information to distill and process through. And the findings of this study were, I think, really significant. And of all of the AmeriCorps members that were part of this evaluation, 78% of the members reported experiencing extraordinary growth through their service in AmeriCorps. Secondly, 74% felt that the differences they made were extraordinary. And third, 78% report that the AmeriCorps experience have made them more employable or a more capable volunteer. So I'm wondering, could you type into the chat box, if you might, are you having this kind of experience yourself as an AmeriCorps member this year? Are you having aha moments? I think one of the things that this second study really pointed out was that AmeriCorps members have this, at some point they have this kind of life-changing experience. It really changes the trajectory of their career path, and it really makes them shoot in a different direction where they feel way more self-satisfaction, and they feel like they're contributing a great deal more to the community, and they feel like they're contributing a great deal more to the common good. Comments? And feel free to unmute and share. And I'm seeing some nice comments here. I do feel this, yes. I feel like I've been growing as a professional. Ariel says yes. Ashlyn, yes. Allison, yes. Red says 100%. John Paul, absolutely. So a lot of people are really supporting the statement. So that's great. So the other thing I'd like to mention here is that, you know, and like we looked at in the oath for Vistas and the AmeriCorps Pledge for AmeriCorps State and National, I think a really important way to be as an AmeriCorps member, a really important way to be every day you're serving is there's, I think, another concept that I'd like to share with you, and I think it's absolutely positively important, and that's the concept of being all in. So giving it 100% every day. It's really about being there, being in your organization, identifying and filling gaps, and really just being of service in whatever the situation you're in. Being of service to the organization, which, you know, can mean a lot of different things to a lot of different organizations. But I think the most important thing for you to really think about, and the most important thing for you to explore, is what does the organization need right now? How can I be useful? How can I be helpful? So all in, the concept is the courage to make a personal commitment to being of service, demonstrated consistently through your thoughts, words, and actions. So the other thing I'd like to mention is that for 14 years in the state of Arizona, whenever there an AmeriCorps member called the Inspector General's hotline and had you know, they were upset about something with their program, or they, you know, had some complaint about what was going on, they would call this 800 number on the AmeriCorps website, and the Inspector General would then call me or email me and say, hey, we got this contact, dig in and find out what's going on. And over the years, I had probably, you know, 6 or 8 of those every year. And I will say that I think one of the things I recognized about all of those folks that called in, and just kind of one of the things I guess I would like to make a generalization and say is that it just feels to me like there are folks that come at AmeriCorps from a couple of different directions, and I'd like to identify them as people that have a growth mindset versus people that have a fixed mindset. And if this is something new and different, I'd encourage you to write down the idea of growth mindset and versus fixed mindset, and really kind of start looking around and exploring. There's so much new research out there about the brain and how it functions, and how the brain functions and how it impacts our life on a daily basis, that I really think it's worth exploring, and I think it's looking into. But I've seen a number of cases on both sides where folks have this growth mindset where everything is possible, and they have great attitudes, and they're ready to jump in and get involved no matter what the task is. And there are some that have a more fixed mindset, and I don't know, they're reluctant, or there's something stopping them from being fully involved, and they're not really giving 110%. And I think that thing that AmeriCorps can do for people is something that's just not being accessible to those folks. So there are lots of characteristics of fixed mindsets and growth mindsets. And, you know, I think it's important to think about, like, what kinds of practices you have every day and what kinds of things that you do to really stay open to possibility and stay open to contributing, and stay open to genuinely being of service to others. So here are some examples of a growth mindset, and I think you've seen a lot of this stuff before. Intelligence is something that you develop. Effort is the path to mastery. Mistakes are essential. You know, make a mistake, own it, move on. Failure is an opportunity to learn. Embrace challenges. Welcome feedback. Believe feedback is guidance. And, you know, doing all of this in a context of being a servant and being helpful, I think, is really important. So I'd like to show a little video, and I'm sure that most of you have seen it before. And it's a scene from The Karate Kid where he has this moment, this realization where, you know, like all of this toiling that he's done for his sensei, Mr. Miyagi, where it all kind of like comes together for him. And I'd like you to take a look at this little snippet and kind of notice the fixed mindset versus when his mind kind of opens up. And I will say at the beginning of this, there is a bit of vulgarity. So I do not mean to offend, but it's part of the clip. So so be prepared for a little bit of, Daniel's pretty upset with Mr. Miyagi, so he lets him know. So here we go.
I'm what? I'm being your goddamn slave is what I'm being, man. Now, we made a deal here.
So?
So you're supposed to teach and I'm supposed to learn, remember? For 4 days, I've been busting my ass. I haven't learned a goddamn thing.
You learned plenty.
I learned plenty. I learned how to sand your decks, maybe. I wax your car, paint your house, paint your fence. I learned plenty, right?
Not everything is as seen.
Oh, bullshit. I'm going home, man.
Daniel-san! Daniel-san!
What?
Come here. Show me sand the floor.
I can't move my arm, all right? What are you doing? What are you... Ow! Ow, what are you doing?
Now show me sand the floor.
How did you do that?
Shut up!
Sand the floor.
Hey, stand up. Show me sand the floor. Sand the floor. Sand the floor. Big sucker, sand the floor. Sand the floor. Yes. Now show me wax on, wax off. Hey.
Wax on, wax off.
Wax on, wax off. Hey, wax on, hot. Wax off, hot. Concentrate. Look at my eye. Lock a hand. Thumb inside. Wax on, hot. Wax off, hot. Wax on, hot. Wax off, hot. Wax on. Wax off. Show me penta fence. Up, down. Up, down. Up, down. Other side. Look eye. Always look eye. Show me paint the house. Side, side. Lock wrist. Side, side. Side, side. Yes. Show me wax on, wax off. That! 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 Show me paint the fence. That! 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 Show me side to side. That! 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 Show me sand or floor. That! 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 에이씨! 어이. Look, always look, come back tomorrow.
So let me ask the question.
Meaning,
I'm what? I'm being.
What does the Karate Kid have to do with serving in AmeriCorps?
Well, nothing is as it seems when we first come in to AmeriCorps.
Good. Other thoughts? Lots of good stuff in the chat. Carol, hard work, persistence. Kylie says he's resilient, has to learn, and then does great things. Right on. Other thoughts? Building skills and expanding capacity. Absolutely. What we are doing often fits into a bigger picture, and maybe sometimes it's hard to see. Right on, Ken. John says knowledge comes from the experience over time. Absolutely. Determination, patience. He doesn't know he's benefiting until someone paints the full picture for him. Humility, focus, honesty. Practice creates good form. I think all of the responses are so spot on. And I think to me, there's this, like, obviously he's upset. He's been working and toiling and not seeing the value of it, and he gets kind of angry. And he kind of starts taking it out on Mr. Miyagi, and Mr. Miyagi kind of flips that energy and really creates an opportunity for him to see the value of all that he's learning. And so again, think about how that connects with your experience in AmeriCorps and your service as an AmeriCorps member. And it's this, the thing that, the research shows that, you're in this situation where you get to make this extraordinary difference, and it makes a difference to you personally and professionally, and it makes a difference over the course of a lifetime. So I want to get at, I've got a couple of slides about the book, The Cider House Rules. And I think the thing about the Cider House Rules that has stuck with me probably for the last 30 years, reading the book a long time ago, is that Dr. Larch runs this orphanage in New England back in the 30s and 40s, and the orphanage adopts this young man, Homer Wells, and Homer is being groomed to replace the doctor, but then Homer, he comes of age and has to go outside and experience life and experience the world and all of that kind of thing. And toward the end of the movie, the doctor passes away, and Homer recognizes his calling, and he returns to the orphanage to follow in the footsteps of the doctor. And And I see Alfredo just said, spoiler alert. Yeah, so it's an old movie, but I highly recommend it. It's an even better book. But the thing that the doctor keeps reiterating over and over and over to Homer all of his life is that Homer, you've got to be of use. You just have to be of use. And so when Homer returns to the orphanage, you know, they're asking him why, and he's like, well, I have to be of use. And I think that that's a really great, powerful message for all of us, and I think especially for AmeriCorps members. And I think that being of use is about being able to recognize the situation and being able to recognize where you can plug in and make a difference, and where you can take initiative and make a difference. And it's all of those kinds of things rolled up all into the same thing. So we are now at the point where, and Barbara, I agree, great movie and an even better book. Absolutely, positively. So I'm curious, I have another breakout room scheduled and another Padlet scheduled. And would you prefer to stay in a large group and do the Padlet? I think we could do it that way instead. I guess I was expecting many, many, many more people to join us today. And so I was trying to think about how to break people up into smaller groups, but it feels like we might be okay just doing it without doing the breakout room. So let me find the, here it is. So I'm going to put into the chat box a new Padlet, and I'll pull it up on the screen, and we can all kind of work on it together. And I think you can just add ideas to either column, and the Padlet, or the page this time, has two different things, and I'd like you to identify what kinds of things that you can do where you really truly can be of use in your service assignment, in your service as AmeriCorps members, and what kinds of things are not helpful. So I'll pull mine up on the screen in a moment, and you should be able to get to so here it is. So you're welcome to type into the chat box, or you're welcome to type directly onto the Padlet. If you want to just speak your ideas, and I'd be happy to be your scribe, that would be good too.
Supporting.
Supporting. Adding value. Assisting, that's a great one.
No judgment.
Awesome. Thank you. Other ideas?
Non-judgment.
Non-judgment. We've got no judgment.
Okay, that was, I didn't see it. So. Selfishness.
Not of use. All right.
Not of use. Selflessness. Of use.
Other thoughts, folks? Inclusivity, I like that one. I see that in the chat box.
Can you repeat the question for folks, Bob?
Sure. So we're typing things that we can do, or characteristics, things that we can do at our service sites where we can be of real use to the staff and to the organizations. Or what are some other things that we do that maybe are not so much of use?
Active listening.
Oh, I've got one of use, asking questions when you don't understand a concept.
That's a great one, John Paul.
Agree. I think simple things like being organized and being on time and being tidy and, you know, cleaning up and, you know, all of those kinds of things I think are super important as well. I see. So let's go through these. Being of use, willingness, reasons to succeed, selflessness, adding value, supporting, assisting youth, open communication, building connections, another communication, there's a good one. No judgment, expanding inclusive practices, transparency, listening, collaboration and teamwork, inclusivity, willingness, active listening, asking questions, being respectful, absolutely. Okay, so what's not useful as an AmeriCorps member? Excuses, bias, comparing my service to others, a defeatist attitude, fear, anger, selfishness, complaints without ideas or solutions. Wow, that's a great one. Complaints without ideas. Ego, being reactive instead of proactive. Ignorance or ignoring others, being closed-minded, minimal effort. Any others come to mind?
Hiding.
Hiding?
Yes, hiding away if there's a disagreement, or you refuse to communicate, so you hide away from everybody else that you work with.
So I hear in that another one. Withdrawing. That's kind of good. Oh, negative attitude. You know, I've seen over the years, I've seen some different examples of like AmeriCorps members or AmeriCorps Vista members that come into an organization, and like within the first couple of weeks, they're like, it feels like they're kind of in this position where like they expect the workplace to reorganize so that they can change the world. You kind of following what I'm saying? It's like they're here, they want to make a difference, and they want the organization to, I don't know, comply with their desire to make change in the world or something. I don't know, but it's really kind of an interesting perspective that I've seen a time or two over the years. I think all of these are super great suggestions. Wait, John Paul says, have everyone revolve around me. Not of use. I like that a lot. Not of use, Kathy says, trying to reinvent the wheel. Yeah, absolutely. I think all of these are good. And the beauty is if you save these links, you'll still have access to these charts, and you're welcome to add more. And I think you can download them and save them and do whatever you'd like with them. So good activity. Did you like it? Thumbs up. Did it work a little better than the breakout rooms? Awesome. I've done this workshop a few times, and here's some other things that folks have put in that I think are really helpful. I think it's so important for everybody to adopt daily practices and to share your work plans and to manage everybody's expectations. I'm a firm believer in, I don't care who you are, I don't care what job you have, I believe that everybody can be a leader no matter what station they're in, no matter what position they're in, everybody can lead. No kidding, no question, no fooling. But I think it's also, really important that you do, high quality work, you fill gaps, you anticipate what's next. You ask if there's anything else you can do. Just be available, be accessible, be cheerful, be happy, be playful, all of those kinds of things. Um, so, so you get the idea. This is what it really means to be of use. It really does. I'd like to give you one other tip, and this kind of goes back to, it goes back to the growth mindset. It goes back to the elasticity of the brain and what it really means to stay in the zone of being in service to others, which I think is absolutely positively the most valuable place to spend your life. And that is that I think a new concept for the masses is this concept of self-regulation. And as Emily said at the beginning of the workshop, I've been involved with the state organization that's all about promoting the new research about adverse childhood experiences. And I think that one of the things I've learned in that research, and one of the practices I've learned about, what kinds of things you can do regardless of your background or regardless of what kind of trauma you've had in your life. And believe it or not, we've all had some trauma of one way, shape, or form in our lives. But it's really about learning how to regulate yourself. It's learning how to manage your emotions, and it's learning how to manage your feelings and your behavior and that kind of thing. And all of that is something that you gotta reinvent, and it's something that you gotta do on a daily basis. And I think there's something about the AmeriCorps Pledge or the Vista Oath that's really critical. And in that context, what's so important is that you manage your participation in AmeriCorps with great integrity. You make the most difference in your AmeriCorps term of service. You make the most difference in your AmeriCorps experience, and it's something that's available and it's in your hands. So I want to ask you a question, and I say feel free to type into the chat box, or feel free to just unmute and share with us. But what is it that inspires you? What is it that keeps you in that zone of being available to serve others? What is it in your life that you've learned makes a difference for you? John Paul, just do it. Right on. What helps you maintain this frame of reference every day where you really can be in a space where you can serve other people? How does that work for you? James says spiritual fulfillment. Outstanding. Other ideas, other suggestions? Interdependence. Thank you, Carol. Be a trendsetter. Knowing that I'm there for people, Allison says. +1 to James, the connection between service and faith. Absolutely. Working with others who are also motivated. A life of service will always be full. The youth seeing changes in the status quo. I like empowering seniors to continue to live independently. And what a critical, important job that is. That's awesome. If the great poem by Rudyard Kipling, that's awesome. Helping others brings happiness. And you know, I think, you know, what it really boils down to is how much of your life do you choose spending your time being in service to others, being in service to the people in your family, being available, being accessible. It's such an important thing. I will share with you the thing, like one of the pieces that's inspired me over the years, and I'm happy to share this PowerPoint with Emily, and you get all of the slides. But there's a little passage from the book Man and Superman by George Bernard Shaw that genuinely has been something that has kept me in the zone for many, many years. And for a long time, I had this taped onto the bathroom mirror, and I would read this every morning when I was brushing my teeth. And it got my day started off in the right direction. It got my day started off in a way that I could be available to serve others and be there for other people. But here it is. This is the true joy in life, folks. Being used for a purpose recognized by yourself as a mighty one. Being a force of nature instead of a feverish, selfish little clod of ailments and grievances, complaining that the world will not devote itself to making you happy. I am of the opinion that my life belongs to the whole community, and as I live it, it is my privilege to do for it whatever I can. I want to be thoroughly used up when I die, for the harder I work, the more I live. I rejoice in life for its own sake. And lastly, life is no brief candle to me. It is a sort of splendid torch which I've got a hold of for the moment, and I want to make it burn as brightly as possible before passing it on to future generations. Good quote. And I'm absolutely happy to share. But you know, there's just something in that for me that as soon as I read that, it's just like, you know, if I'm ever in kind of a weird place mentally or emotionally or physically or spiritually, it just gives me this opportunity to align with what I really want to be about every day. And it's so important. It's just so critical. So I have another little clip for you, and I think this is another demonstration of kind of this idea of closed mindset versus open mindset. And I really think you're gonna see a huge difference here between the two, and think about how this might look in the context of your service as an AmeriCorps member. And I just love this clip. And it's from an old movie that was actually filmed just south of Tucson. And it's called Lilies of the Field, and it's starring Sidney Poitier. So here we go, just a couple minutes long.
Senor, we have come to help you.
Thanks. I thank you very much, but I don't need any help. Thank you. Thank you.
You are sure you are doing the right thing?
You prayed up a lot of bricks, Mama. But you only prayed for one man to build your chapel.
Hey, amigo. I had to come see the one-man cathedral. This is all you have done in 1 week. God, he made the whole world in that time, and he was able to rest. Hey, notice your audience.
I can't get rid of them.
They heard it was the best show in town. Está bien, puro un americano. You do not want it? Do not take it. Step over it and go get another one.
I'm not sure why it's pausing.
Look, that's the way it goes.
So we've talked a little bit about open and closed mindsets. What would you say that's an example of? Any guesses, anybody?
Well, he starts out with a closed mind. He doesn't want any help. And then the one man putting one brick in the way and saying, you can either pick this one up or walk around it and get another one. is the beginning of his opening his mind.
That beam sits
Yep.
on it.
So,
Absolutely. So, just a couple of final thoughts, folks. Did you get anything today? Was this helpful? You know, there's so much, you know, attitude definitely shapes altitude, and how far you want to go will be determined by you more than anybody else. And I just, you know, I recognize what a sacrifice service in AmeriCorps is, and I recognize the value that this can be in your lives. You know, whatever your age, whatever your service is, there's so much more available when you give freely and without reservation, and when you really genuinely give it your all and you're all in. You know, there's really something accessible. So I really folks, I appreciate your time and attention today. I had another little video, but we'll forego because I think that we are just about out of time. So any final thoughts, questions, comments, anything at all? I would like to say that that I am located in Casa Grande, and here's my contact information. I do, one of my new COVID hobbies is that I fresh roast coffee. I take green beans and I roast coffee beans about twice a month. And so we always have fresh roasted coffee in our office, and all of our AmeriCorps members and our Vistas and our employees and everybody, you know, drink it freely. And if you ever should find yourself outside of the great state of Maricopa, or outside of the independent Republic of Tucson, and you're in the Casa Grande area, you're always welcome to stop by for a cup of coffee. Or if you want to chat further about this topic or anything else, please feel free to call or email. I'm absolutely happy to support and do whatever I can to help you experience all you can through your service in AmeriCorps. Thank you, Emily. It's back to you.
Thank you so much. And let's give Bob a big round of applause. You can use those reaction buttons there. You know, this I think is the most beautiful thing about national service. And if I can be a little bit biased about our state of Arizona, in particular, is just the collaboration between national service programs and the willingness of people to partner and to come together to really make a huge impact in their community. So I am very appreciative, Bob, of your being here today to present with us. And also, folks, take full advantage of that coffee because I'm sure it's delicious, and of the invitation to reach out and connect with Bob a little bit further. He has been in this business a long time and has a lot of information and stories to share.